This is a year before Scion closed its doors to the public. The touring coupe, or better known as the Scion TC. Now Toyota built this car to be the successor to the Toyota Celica. So with that in mind, does this RAV4 engine hold up to the Toyota Celica name? Yes, this is a 2AR FE. It's a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder. It has 179 horsepower and 172 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's what Toyota claims, but it kind of feels like it. It's definitely more so of a daily driver in stock form for sure, because it don't got a lot of go. Yep. Okay. All right. Yep. But that doesn't cancel out this car's ability to be amazing, especially after some modifications. Now, Frankenstein Motorworks, if you've ever heard of him, he's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, yada, 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 yada. He specializes in a lot of these Toyota engines. So he makes a set of camshafts for this engine in particular that pushes this car to 230 wheel horsepower. Now, this is tried and tested. Like, he has tested these camshafts out. And then if you add an intake manifold with velocity stacks and some valve springs and a good tune from him, I believe, obviously, you're talking about 270 wheel horsepower out of an NA Toyota engine. That's insane. They put these same engines in hybrid Camrys, I believe, and RAV4s, and we're talking about a few modifications, a couple $1,000s, like maybe two and a half, somewhere in there, and you got yourself a 270 horsepower NA 4-cylinder. Not a lot of people can say that, because that's insane. Even Toyota from the factory, with their first-gen Scion TCs, offered a TRD supercharger package, where you can get 200 horsepower straight out the gate. That's a very rare find these days, obviously, because obviously the kits are discontinued, and so is the car, and so is Scion. But that is an epic package that you can get. And if you have one, you're very lucky. You can either get this in a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic. This one has the 6-speed automatic with the paddles. It feels okay. I think it actually is finding the gears pretty much how I want it, and if not, I could always pop it into slap and do a little shifting myself. There we go. Yeah, not fast at all, but fun. And with the intake manifold, camshafts, the tune, and the valve springs, you can rev this engine to 8,000 RPM, which is like touching Honda VTEC territory in an S2000. And one of my favorite racers that I grew up watching, because he was in Top Gear America and he was a stunt driver, he is a stunt driver still, I believe, Tanner Faust also had a Drift TC. Now this obviously had a V8 swapped into it, and it had a super differential to compensate for the fact that it needed to be rear-wheel drive to drift. But I just think that's an epic car, because it competed in Formula Drift, and I believe he won second place in a Scion TC that was mostly stock aside from the engine and differential. Now let's talk a little bit about suspension. This has a McPherson strut in the front, and it has a coil on control arm, and the shock is also mounted to the control arm, but it's still a front-wheel drive car. So getting it around corners, I am fighting this steering wheel because it just wants to understeer so badly. So badly. But I'll tell you what, it tosses in quite nice. And if you could just get that back end to rotate a little bit more, it would probably handle incredibly. Foot flat, let's go. Here we go. 50 miles an hour. 55. Oh my God, that's a lady in the road. Holy crap. Oh my God.
Yeah, let's just walk.
What was she doing?
Oh my God.
But
bring yourself back from that. You're already.
yeah, okay, give that a second. Hello. Lady in the road talking on her phone. That's not good. All right.
Yeah, she was dead ass in the middle of the road. Thank God we have a dash cam because.
Oh my God. If I nicked that steering wheel a little bit harder, I would have been off the road. Because of this front wheel drive car, it probably would have understeered me right into a tree. So, good save on me, I guess. Anyway, yeah, understeer, lots. But I think if you put it on a good set of coilovers, which I did look, they are available for this car, that will probably plant it a lot better than it's planted right now. Right now, obviously, TC, touring car, right? So, it wants to be cushy and comfortable, but it also wants to go fast. It's in that in-between point where it chirps tires going around corners a bit too fast, but at the same time, it wants that. It wants you to fight it. It wants you to manhandle it into a corner and keep it in your line. That, to me, is fun to drive. So what if it's not a rear-wheel drive BMW or Camaro or Mustang? If you got to manhandle it a little bit, I mean, who doesn't like a little bit of manhandling, am I right? I think that's fun. I have a blast doing that. I love all the rear-wheel drive stuff still, for sure, but man, sometimes you just want a car just like this, where you have to wrestle it a little bit to get it around a corner, and you just want to give it a little bit more power. And oh, it reminds me so much of my Z3, just in front-wheel drive form. The feedback from the road is quite good. I could feel every little crevice of these PA potholes and every little patch job that they decided to throw in here that scrapes off the tires as you go over it. So the feedback's really good, and the steering inputs are really good. I quite like it. It does exactly what I want it to do, but I have to hold it there and keep it tight. Otherwise, it can get away from you really easy. Even though it doesn't have a lot of power, it still wants to get out of the way. It wants to do the opposite of what you're doing. Now, one thing that could make it handle better is probably upgrading this open diff to an LSD. I did see them online, and it didn't look like they were that expensive. I think it was around the $400 range, but it would be a perfect upgrade to get this thing to kind of give you a little bit more in the corners. But luckily, the weight actually holds its own with giving you that light nimbleness, because it only weighs in at 3,000 pounds. And that's curb weight I'm talking, of course. But 3,000 pounds isn't much. And if you took a lot of this interior out, or even just took the back seats out and maybe some of this front, some of the door panels and stuff, they look pretty heavy, you could probably get this down to the 2,800 range, which is fantastic. It would make it even more light and nimble, and you'd probably have to wrangle it a lot more. Now, the only mods that are done to this car is a rear muffler. And then aesthetics. So rain guards, interior bits. This owner has a dash cam, you know, creature comfort stuff. There is a shift knob here that is manual, but yep, you know where I'm going with this. It's also got a bridge shift boot, so that's pretty cool. And the muffler, I believe, is from Amazon, I think he told me. So, an Amazon muffler, but it doesn't sound too bad. Take a listen. Oh, oh, oh. Oh my God.
What the It's still smoking. Oh my God.
It doesn't like me getting onto it very much. So I guess that's a good time to mention that the one common problem with this car is that they had oil consumption issues. But I guess I can kind of see why now. Because wow, that was a puff cloud.
Okay.
Scion TC. Great car. Oh, that's terrifying. Okay. Okay. All right. No more beating. I'm done beating on it, I swear. Oh my God. This poor thing.
One more time and she's gonna say no for good.
She just might. Yeah. She just might. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I will say this is a very comforting touring car for sure. It like has all the creature comforts. The seats feel very comfortable. The bolsters are amazing. It's a very nice cruiser. If you were to buy this car and just do aesthetics and just have it because it's a cool car, well, that's totally okay, because honestly it is. It's a nice little car and driving it around feels great. I feel like I could put plenty of miles on this thing with no problem, just so long as I don't put my foot to the floor.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I was going to look at this from a mechanical aspect, it doesn't look too bad to work on. You got your headers up front here, but your intake manifold's in the back. That seems to be the hardest part of working on this engine, because your intake manifold is so buried back here, but I would hope that that doesn't trap heat back there and cause any sorts of heat soak. But you got your serpentine belt over here and all your accessories right down the side here, so it's kind of a little iffy to work on. It's a transverse mounted engine, so you got your transmission over here under the airbox along with your starter. And this is a very tall engine, I will say. It sits very high up in the engine bay versus like maybe one of the Volkswagens that we own, where it's kind of a little bit more tucked down. It's not so tall, but this is a beefy engine. And with it being an open deck block, it doesn't have any material around the cylinder walls. So it has the cylinder walls and then open space around the sides of them. Still connected to the block itself, so it does save some weight there, but it is still very tall, and I don't know how that fares up with reliability. I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's Toyota, they're definitely reliable, so what am I talking about, right? Forget that. Now this engine does have timing chains that are on the right side of the engine over here. Right side, I guess you could say passenger side, where the serpentine belt and all your accessories lie. It has a VVT system up top here, where the cam gears are, obviously. But actually, some of you wouldn't know, so not obviously. Switch that back. Yeah. So, from a mechanical standpoint, I'd give it a medium, honestly. It's like a medium to high. It's definitely easy to work on. If you got this cowl out of your way, I think the intake manifold will be a lot easier. I don't know if this is particularly removable. It is to a certain degree, so eventually you'll hit the metal about right here. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to work on that intake manifold in the back, but makes working on the exhaust much easier. Now moving on to the exterior, I do like a lot of these body lines. I like how sharp the front end looks. I even like the first gen TCs. They're actually very nice. They're a little bit more bulbous, but this one, the second generation, is actually a very nice pick. Sharp edges, a little bit rounder on the roof area, and then it's kind of boxy and boxy. So front end's boxy, rear end's boxy, because it has this lift back where this whole back window picks up to unveil the trunk. And that just makes the car look so aggressive. And like I said, there's a lot of sharp lines to this body, which makes it just pop for a car enthusiast. You also get a set of 18-inch rims. Now this owner, who graciously provided this car to us, thank you very much, Jake, also has drilled and slotted brake discs, and in the rear as well. He did a lot of look modifications, I guess you could say. A lot of aesthetics, you know, rain guards, stuff like that. Bits and pieces on the interior. But let's talk about this interior now, because this interior is actually quite nice. It's very driver oriented. All of the controls in the center with the radio and the climate controls is facing the driver. So like it's kind of angled towards the driver, and I actually quite like that. It kind of reminds me of like the Toyota Supra, where all of that was kind of facing the driver and it just looked like a cockpit. It was very cool. You also have this red trim, but I don't think this is factory. This has definitely been painted, but very customizable. I do like it. I do like it quite a lot. It has a really fat steering wheel. That's really nice. Let's see, what else we got in here? What else we got? These cloth bucket seats actually have quite nice bolstering to them. Like it is a nice bolster. Even for cloth, like it's actually really nice. It holds me in the seat very well. It has a really interesting moonroof where it's split between the front and the rear. And it creates this interior ambiance it's quite a vibe, as the kids would say. So, if you're looking for an enthusiast car on a budget, this Gen 2 TC, they kind of roam around the area of 6,000 to 7 for a Gen 2. I've seen the Gen 1s go for under 5 grand all day, even less than 3 sometimes, depending on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a project, Gen 1 probably be a good pick because they have a lot more aftermarket capability. There's a lot more parts available for them, a lot of things that you can order that you can't order for this one because it's a Gen 2. Now mind you, this is 2015, so Scion closed its doors in 2016. So this car basically got null and voided before it ever even got a chance. I think coilovers would help this car out a lot, to be honest with you, like a lot. If it was a bit more planted, it wouldn't have so much understeer, and maybe you can get it to rotate a little bit better, especially if you could find some sway bars for it. But from what I could find, there wasn't much out there. There was coilovers and I think a set of camber arms, so maybe that would also help if you did the camber arms as well, because the camber being out a little bit negatively could help it perform a little bit better in the corners. But nonetheless, this is a pretty good price point for a platform to build on, even if you just wanted a daily driver and you just wanted to pimp it out, make it look like this, because this is a quality Toyota daily driver. So, do I think the Scion TC is a good pick for enthusiasts? Absolutely. You could turn this car into a lovely little track toy and still have the usability on the street. It has almost all of the creature comforts you could ever want and enough aftermarket support to spice things up. And it'll keep your heart frickin' beating when it's understeering into a tree if you just want some spirited driving. If you guys have any Scion TC stories, drop them in the comments below. And also, what car do you want to see us do next? See you next time. Oh, wait. Don't go. If you want to support Brielle and I in our creative adventures, go to 1113motorsport.myshopify.com to get yourself some motorsport gear.